Alright, in the previous video I showed how we could write the same script that we did in, or program we did in C++ in MaxScript, and I talked a little bit about, having to write your own byte handler versus having one that's already made for you. So we're going to be looking at Gnosis because I think Gnosis is a great platform to create and share plugins for viewing models. Rich here designed it and made it from scratch, so you can download it from his site here. Noesis also has extensions, so you can write your own DLLs, dynamic linking library, so you can add compiled plugins to it. But it also supports integration with Python, so preferably a lot of people just write Python scripts, which I think is better because it's more open source that way, and it's better for the community as a whole, and Python is easier to write than a compiled application would be for some people. People who are not coding gods, Python I think is a lot better. So I got Gnosis installed here, and we are going to just write the Python script for that. Now I have a couple of these videos on my YouTube channel if you want to see more of that. Or have any questions, of course, ask, and I'll try to respond to it. But Gnosis is just like anything else. You're just going to feed the geometry into its API, which is a function that it has requirements on, and then it just renders it. There's nothing special behind it. But again, we're going to be just looking at the bare bones things. So we've just been looking at importing vertices and faces. I haven't been talking about the advanced things, such as importing texture coordinates and vertex colors and materials and textures, because once you go down that road, then you're getting into days of work. And to keep these videos short, and they're already long enough, I'm avoiding those topics. But like I said, there's other videos on my YouTube channel you can check out where I go through more stuff in depth there. So yeah, okay. So here's the installation folder here, okay, that I just made, and I open up the application. We have here the plugins folder. You'll see the Python installation. You can double click on there, and in here are going to be your plugins. So it already comes pre-installed with a few plugins. Over here is I'm not sure, MP Gnosis Python README, and in this README it just explains how it works. Actually, in my opinion, doesn't explain enough, but it gives you basically what would you call it? It's like a header file almost. It's just a bunch of definitions of all the functions that are in there, but the explanations in here, if any, are just really slim. So let's see, what does it say in here? It says Gnosis Gnosis supports Python through a native binary module. In order to add format and functionality support, put PY scripts in this folder, which implement a method named register Gnosis types. So that's true. You use this function, and if Gnosis sees the function, then it will just call your script. And it says look at the examples for a complete model import example. You can rename the extension to PY if you want to use it. Alt-T-R for quick shortcuts of reloading the scripts. You can also assign the reload plugin menu item to your shortcut of choice, and blah blah blah. So it's really bare bones. Yeah, it just says basically look at the examples. I'm not going to explain it to you, which is fine. But yeah, so this is important, which are these hotkeys. Alt-T-R is going to help us reload it, but I'll just show you in the menu where it is. So we'll close this. And so really what's going to explain how to use this is the example file, which is just a sample file of one of these things that he wrote for something else. So of course what we're going to do is we're going to copy it and rename it to something else. So this we'll just call the extension I'm looking at is XGM. This seems to be like a naming convention here that I'm noticing. So we will keep up with that naming convention, although it is totally not required. So whatever. Oh, I need to name this to py, he said. Okay. Now, depending on your Windows settings, you may or may not be able to rename a file to a py. If that's the case, then you would just copy one of these py's and then open them up in a text editor so you could work on them. Okay, so this particular py, obviously we're just going to open up in Notepad++ so that we can see formatting in it, because Gnosis does not give you a text editor to work with, so you have to use your own. Notepad++ is free, so if you don't have it, give it a go, and you can use this to start working in. Okay. So the thing in here is we can't compile this and test it. We need to use Gnosis for this. So I'm having Gnosis at the side of my screen so I can test these changes. And then over here I'm just using this as a general notepad editor. You can use the Windows native notepad editor, any kind of text editor will work. Okay. There are actual editors out there for Python, but to my knowledge all of them are pay for. You have to pay for them. So this is one of them here. This is Charm. I've been messing with it just a little bit and I really like it. It's got a lot of really interesting features in an editor. Like over here it tells me all my mistakes that I've made, and it shows me this little bar and I can just zoom up on it, and if I click on it, it gives me suggestions on what I effed up on and how to fix it. I really like this editor. It's really nice, but it's okay. We're going to use this one. It's okay. That's how most people are programming with Python anyways, so yeah. Okie dokies. So he's got a bunch of comments in here. We know this because of the hashtags and that this is green. You can go ahead and read those, but I'm just gonna cut out the fat because we don't really need to. I'm just gonna explain it to you anyway, so we don't need to have all this stuff here. So I'm gonna take out the strenuous stuff here. Write model. So we don't need to know how to write anything. We don't need to know how to do that. We don't need to know how to do that, so just delete all that. Gone. Okay, and then this is all we need. He's using the Rappy module, which I don't want to use. Yeah, I don't want to use the Rappy module, but we are going to be using MDL list. But he's using the Rappy module. Alright, so this is an example of using the Rappy module, which stands for Rich's Awesome Python Interface or something. I don't know. I don't know why he has two of them, but he has two modules. He has the Gnosis module, and then he's got the Rappy module. I don't know if the Rappy module is better. I know that other people use it, but I tend not to because I just don't feel comfortable with it. What you do is, for example, if you want to assign vertex information or something, you would call the member function called Rich's, what did the P stand for? Rich's Awesome Python, so Rich Python Geometry? I don't know. Anyway, you call RPG bind position buffer, and then you supply the position, the type, and the stride, and then that reads the buffer that way. So this is a really quick way to read a file. This does several things combined in one, and it makes it really quick. But the way I program is mostly the same. Like, it's very primitive, I guess, or rudimentary. So I tend to keep that style going across everything I do, either being MaxScript or C++ or in Python. They all have the same flow to them. So I don't typically use the Rappy module. So in that case, I do have an example here that I'll refer to, which is an older script that I wrote for another game called Idle Master. So I'll just keep this to the side and I'll refer to that as we move along. Okay, so basically this whole thing we are going to delete. Basically, it can just disappear. Okay, so we'll just grab everything up to here and goodbye. Okay, and then we'll start from that. Okay, and then we have to also trim this thing down. We require this. We do a check. We do a load. No writing. We don't need to add custom flags. We don't need any prints. We just need this. Okay, that's all bare bones. Okay, so this is the bare bones. This is what's required. You have to have this. This is required. Okay, so at the very top, you have to include the include Gnosis module, which is another file that's in your folder. It includes the Gnosis class, which I will show you because that's important. So in this folder, is it another folder? No, it is. It's right here. Gnosis, include Gnosis. Sorry, we'll drag that over, and this is just his pre-made byte class for dealing with reading bytes, and it has a lot of other stuff in it as well. So it's a really important module, you know. So anyway, so in here, you know, it's the same thing that we had written in C++. It's just written differently, I guess, way it operates. But basically, it's gonna, you know, if you ask it to read a byte, it's gonna return a byte as an integer, that sort of thing. So it's already pre-made for you, and it's in a separate module. So you're just gonna use it that way. Okay. So let's step through what else is here. So we're including that module. We need to have register type as defined in the README. When Gnosis looks at the py script, it looks for this definition or this function, and if it's here, it's going to load this. And what this is doing right now is it's registering a new file with the program, and then it's loading these capabilities to that file. So we can check the file and we can load the file, basically is how that works. So we're going to change this a little bit. So this is going to load an XGM. We're going to put the extension in here, XGM. You can rename these functions, okay, whatever these things are called. You can rename them. They're just given generic names here, but we'll just leave them as. This here, Gnosis log pop-up, is important because it's going to show us the Python output console, which we're going to need if we encounter a problem and we need to fix a problem. So where did Gnosis go? Okay, so keep over here. And then we have, oh, by the way, we're going to turn this on, sorry, so we're going to take the hashtag off. Then down here in check type, we would check the type. So he's checking two things, a header for character code and a version. So if we go back into here, I don't know if we have a version, but we certainly have a for character code. So I would copy this, and I would come in here and I would do a check for that. So at minimal, we need at least 8 bytes. So it's checking here. So if the length is less than 8, then exit the file. You're done. Go home. All right. But if we have more than 8 bytes, then we continue on. What he does is he takes his class for reading bytes, so he calls it the Gnosis bitstream, and he assigns it to BS for bitstream. Sometimes I think he just does this as a joke. I don't know. But we're going to name it to F instead of BS because BS sounds kind of funny. So we have F, which is our file, and then we're just checking it. And if it's not right, it's not the right thing, it's going to return 0 and not 1. So we just do the same thing. So if not equal, and I have to switch this around like this. Oh, how did that happen? OX, trim this out, and then we return 0. Okay, so I didn't put any comments in here, so I'm just going to explain it. So if we did have more data to work with, we're going to open the file, okay, and then once we open the file, we want to go to a position, which I forgot to do. So we're going to do that. So it's f dot, I can't remember now. Just give me a second. Seek. Okay. So we're just going here, and let me just paste this here for a second. So the word seek will take 2 inputs. So our address in this case is going to be 8, and then if we want to change the type of direction, then we would put in one of these enumerators. So we have absolute, relative, and we don't have another one. So that's why I was introducing this concept earlier, because you'll see this in other things. So we don't have to specify it because there's a default. So when you look at seek here, you see how there's an equal sign? This has already been pre-assigned, so if you just decide not to supply it, it will already have this input as this way, okay? So what we're going to do is just, wait a minute, yeah, just do this. That's all you got to do. So you just seek to 8, okay, and then, wait. Oh, I need 12 bytes. So yeah, it is 8, but I need 12. So this needs to be 12. This is 8. It reads an int, which is 4 bytes or a 32-bit integer, and we check it, and if it's wrong, it returns 0, and we get out, okay? All right, now we're dealing with the, I don't know how this got here, but we'll delete that, with the model loading function. So the model loading function, can I collapse these? Perfect. Now, model loading function, I don't know why, I never bothered asking him, but he repeats the check type for some reason. So basically we just copy this and paste it in here. I really don't know why it's that way, but I'm not going to worry about it. So we're just going to copy and paste this into the model function, and this is going to check a second time. I think this check type might be called up for something more specific. So yeah, but yeah, you could also put this in here a different way too. You could say check equals, and you call your check, and then do a thing here. If check not equal 1, then return whatever, but I'm just going to follow the example, so that's the way it was written. Alright, so basically now we're ready to do stuff, and so we're just going to basically copy, just copy this, I guess. It's probably the closest approximation to what we need to do. So go back into our file, plus. We'll paste this in here. And then, oh yeah, I pressed the wrong button. And we're going to just correct this as required. So we don't need to open the file because Gnosis supplies us the file. It's called data. We don't need to define numerators because we're not dealing with, we already have a class that's already written for us. Okay, I just introduced that concept. So now we just need to fseek. So we go fseek, and then we just apply our brackets. And so you see what I did there? So this makes this hopefully understandable, you know, understanding from the previous examples, going from C++ to MaxScript and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Python uses hashtags for comments. Over here it's going to be f dot, and then there's no inputs, so it just looks like that. And it doesn't use this wording, it's called an int. So now I can just go and I can copy like that. Same stuff. Yeah, now I read the buffers. In Python they look like this. And Gnosis has specific requirements on this, so I need to check because I can't remember. So if I check out the, I think it's called Gnosis Mesh or something like that. Let's check that out. Nope. Yeah, Gnosis Mesh. Okay, so it takes a positional list of positions and doesn't say anything, so I have no idea. It says positions normals are expected to match and count. They are shared triangle list. So we're going to use the interface if you want a convenient means to convert different primitive types to Gnosis model with Gnosis meshes. I'm not sure what he means by convert the different primitive types. I mean, he's talking about the faces or something. Okay, so well, we'll find out. I'm assuming it's tuples or something, which is annoying to deal with. But yeah, actually, no, I know where I can check. I can check my old programs. Check it out. So let's see here. So I have textures. So let's just check here. VStride. So what did I do here for vert? Oh, so it's just a normal array then, so it's no big deal. Oh no, wait, no. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be right. This goes into here. Why am I doing that? Okay, so it does take a special class. So that's good that I checked that. Whew, okay, so down in here, when we read the vertex, we have to change this up a little bit. So we set some arrays. I have to change this around a little bit. So this works differently. So we would say for I in range, and then that's of course 0, and then we go to the maximum number. So in 3ds Max, I didn't touch on it too much, but you can't have a 0 value. You always start from 1 and then go up. But when we're dealing with C++ or many of the other programming languages, they start from 0. So in this case, we start from 0 here. And we go to the vertex count. Okay, and now we can go into here. They don't use brackets, they use indentation. So indentation is super important. They don't use brackets. So if you screw up your indentation like this, you're boned and it won't work. You'll throw an error. Okay, so in here we need to change this and format this a little bit differently. So it's going to be vertex array dot append. Okay, and then in here we have to use this Gnosis type. So this is going to go here, or here rather. All right, and then inside of here we're going to put the reading of the float values. Okay, so we're going to use Noesis bitstream. So we're going to access f dot read float, which I believe is the correct one. We just check. Yes, that is the correct one. And we're just going to do that several times over. So we have x, y, and z. So that's our vertices, and now we have to skip again. So f.seek. Oops, did not mean to do that. Okay, and now we are pretty much done with the vertex. Now we're going to go and do the faces. So we got to change this around. So just copy and paste this because it's quicker. And then I'd probably just copy the same thing over here as well, actually. Now, I think with the faces, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure you don't feed them in as a tuple. So let me just quickly check that, just to make sure I not screwed that up. Yeah, it's just, yeah. So you read them straight. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that means that this will come off, and that's just basically like this then. So we go append, and then for a short, I'm not sure what he calls that. It's also called a short then. So yeah, so it's fine. So yeah, so in here it's just gonna be f dot read short, and we're done. And we don't add one because again it starts at 0. It's only 3ds Max and apparently object format that have that rule. Okay, and then we don't have to file close because Gnosis takes care of that for us in its class. And then in the import to scene, in 3ds Max, this is all we needed. But in Gnosis, it's a little bit more complex. So let me just have a look at that. I believe we have to create Gnosis mesh to do that. So just give me a second to check. I will copy some stuff. Okay, so we need, this is the bare minimum what we need. So this sends a model. We then need to create a model. So this is what this is. We need to, how do we put the mesh in the model? Okay, so, whoa, okay. So you need to create a model, set the mesh in the model. So this would be this. And then you're going to use the Gnosis mesh class, which I'm pretty sure is this guy. So we have an initializer here, so I'm going to copy this whole thing and then go back over here, and we're just going to look at what requirements are on this thing. So, okay, so we create Gnosis mesh, so this is going to go in here, and it has a triangle list, so that would be the faces, which we saved up here, and then followed by the name. So we can also, no, sorry, I skipped over this. Triangle list and then position. So it's this one. All right, and then these are defaulted, so they're optional. So we have this one's defaulted. They're all defaulted, so we don't need to worry about them. So we can now remove this, and I think we're good. So this is our import here. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit. Creates a Gnosis mesh, or model, I guess. Sets the mesh to the model. It requires an input of an array. So we input this inside of an array because there's only just one element. And then we append our model to our model list, and then we return. So model list here is access from the top here. So you're not returning the model list, you're just returning the condition if there is a problem or not. So if there was a problem, it's going to kick you out over here basically. So that's why it returns 1 at the bottom. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to make sure my indents are good. I think they are good. I forgot a few things here and there. I think I'm good. So I'm going to save. And now I can go into Gnosis. Okay, and we can reload the plugins. So I'm going to go to Tools, and I'm going to go to Reload Plugins. Alright, now this pop-up came up because we activated, oh, I closed that. Oh, it's okay, I'll open it up again later. Up top here, this says Gnosis log pop-up. That's where that's what causes that window to open up, which is fine, that's what we want. So you can see that I just started Gnosis now, and this window automatically pops up every time now. So you want to, when you're done with the pop-up, you want to remove this line. If any one of your plugins has this line, this window always pops up, which can be fairly annoying. Okay, anyway, so let's see if we can import the model there. So I'm just going to import the same one, and we'll see if we get any error here. So it says here the error, and if I want to see the error again, I can just bring up the log menu. And so it's saying that, so what is it saying here? So it says line 12, something about Gnosis ABS or AB is not defined. So that's probably a typo. So line 12 is inside here, and it's supposed to be from include Gnosis, and I've probably copied it wrong. So it says with an S at the end. So I'm just gonna add an S to the end. There we go. I think I did that in a few spots. Wow. There we go. Save. And we have to reload the plugins again. So Tools, Reload Plugins. And now we can double click again. And I swear I fixed that, but it's still saying int is not literable. 12. Maybe I actually do need to input. Wait. Did I use the wrong thing? I think I did. Alright, so I said no seek. What does it say over here? Oh no, I did the right one. Yeah, I totally did. But down here, did I do the right one? No, I did the wrong one. And down here, I did the wrong one. Alright, let's try that again. Tools, reload plugin. Same one, really? That can't be right. Reload. Huh, that's really weird. Line 12. Okay, let's go with line 12. Line 12 is this one. Oh, why is that doing there? Whoops. Yeah, that was just, I pasted that temporarily. That was my bad. That would cause problems. Reload plugin. Alright, now we got a different problem that's better. It's the same thing. I've named everything wrong here. Okay, so this No thank you. Alright, hopefully I got it this time. So tools, reload plugins, click. Oh, so many errors today. Okay, so it's saying that I have a float, and it cannot be used in a loop. Okay, so let's go back. So basically I did some math here, some division, and when you do division, it turns it into a float value. So we need to force it back into an integer value by using this command called int, and then inside the brackets we put our value that was not an int, and then it will convert it into an integer. Save that, and we will try that again. In this case it worked, except it's still flipped, which is ridiculous. Where was I? I got so many things open at the same time. So we assigned it to an array. So again, it's going to be just easier for us to negate the one value, which is totally wrong. You're not supposed to do that, but it's going to just work. So let's just do that. Reload that plugin, and there wheel reloaded. And it's not inverted, guys, even though we're not supposed to do it that way. Yeah, if you want to do it properly, just a second, you would need to flip this somehow. So you would have to divide this by 3, okay? And then in here, you have to assign them a variable. So like f1 equals something like this, okay? Like that, and then you're gonna append them in a different order. So it's gonna be f1 3 and then 2. Okay, so we can do this in practice. So that should work, I think. So save that. Tools, reload. Actually, no, I remember what I forgot. We gotta take that negation off here, and that should be fine. And then reload plugin. Alright, so it's saying that I can't divide it because no duh. Okay, so where I need to put this 3 is back up here, and then that's going to work again. So we're going to save. What am I doing? Oh my god, too many tabs. Okay, reload, and then I got double click. And so now this is properly flipped. You're supposed to flip the winding and not the vertices, but it adds some additional code which I didn't want to bother with, so I ended up just not doing it on the other demonstrations as well. But that's how you would deal with it here, for example. Okay, I'm sorry these take so long to go over, but hopefully they are insightful. I'm going to I think show one more time in Blender or something, and I think that'll be pretty thorough, and then maybe I'll make some more advanced videos talking about well, I don't even know what you guys even like to program in or whatever, or have support for, I guess. Some people prefer Blender, some people don't, some people prefer Gnosis. It's kind of all over the board. But once I show you the Blender one, you'll notice how non-conformal it is. You can't simply just copy a PY file from Gnosis and drop it into Blender. That's not how that works, and I think some people have that misconception, because a few times people have asked me that question, and it's a stupid question, but they don't know, right? Like, these are programmed in such a particular way that you literally cannot drag this file into another folder and just expect it to work for a different application. So it has to be written from the ground up to support that. But I'll be showing you the Blender side of that next, okay? Thanks for watching. Take care and see you next one.